Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Telescope Podcast. Thank you for listening.
What's up, everybody? Everyone in this place, if you could do a handstand, I want to see your feet up in the air right now. Wave them around, that's right. Woo!
Hello, welcome to the Telescope Podcast. I'm Matthew Seipel Anderson, the host. This is episode number 7, all about running. So, do you ever dream of running a marathon? If you're like me, you probably have nightmares about running one. I have no interest in running a marathon. Although I have to admit, I was a little inspired doing the research for this podcast. I actually have a younger brother who took up running this year. I have a stepbrother who also took up running. Anyway, my brother lost like 60 pounds, and he even ran a half marathon earlier this summer. So, good job, Dan. I'm from Duluth, Minnesota, and our local marathon is called Grandma's Marathon. The city swells like crazy as 18,000 people roll in to either run or watch someone run, and then subsequently nurse them back to health, which you may laugh at, but many times this is literally true. I was looking on the internet, like I always do, at marathon injuries, because I've heard stories about crazy things that can happen when you subject yourself to a 26.2 mile run. And some of the injuries that I found were things that you'd expect, blisters, chafing, dehydration, cramps, sunburn, sprains and strains, just kind of your typical stuff. But there are a few injuries that were a little more extreme. The first one is runner's runs, aka the trots. And you can guess what that is, You're bouncing up and down for hours and hours, sweating like crazy. Your body kind of freaks out. The intestines work a little too quickly. They flood the system. Maybe they, go into some kind of survival mode and just empty everything extra. So people on the course have to just run as fast as they can to the nearest porta potty because otherwise it's going to be running down their leg. Another one was they titled it hitting the wall. And I've heard that expression. I think everybody knows generally what that means. But it literally is the result of your muscles not having enough sugar and things to work. Your body just says, no, enough. So that's hitting the wall. This is one that surprised me. See if I can pronounce it properly. It's hyponatremia. Hyponatremia. There we go. And it actually is from having too much water in your system. It's common for people who walk or run really slow. And then, they're psyched up because of this race, and they know they have to drink a lot of water. And if they do, they drink water like crazy, but they don't actually need it. And it floods their system, and it results in headaches, cramps, confusion, slurred speech. It's like you'd be running like a drunk, in this race. I guess it's actually really dangerous to be in that state. The last one, and I'm sure there are others, and I'd be curious if you're out there and you've got a good injury story or some wild thing that happens at these. I'd love to hear about it on our Facebook page. But anyway, the last one on my list for today is black toenails. Which is the result of your foot sliding back and forth inside your shoe. Apparently, most people don't realize that this is happening or that they're getting an injury until, after the race is over. They pull their shoes and socks off, and lo and behold, their toenails are black, and then their toenails fall off. Sounds painful. Running takes serious determination. Maybe that determination can even be called an addiction. I've heard of runner's high, and I'm sure running releases some kind of endorphins or hormones that makes a person feel amazing. My question is, why don't those happy feelings transfer to your face? I mean, seriously, runners look like they're in pain. You never drive by someone and just think, oh man, he just looks so happy to be out running. No, that's maybe the dog that the jogger has with them. The dog looks happy. The jogger never looks happy. They look like they're in pain and never looks fun. Life a lot of times feels like a race. And I think the biggest competitor that we race against is ourselves. We're the one that a lot of times decides to slack off, take it easy, hold back, not chase that dream, not go for that vision, not write down that goal, not write down that great idea, then pursue it. We're always having to race and push against ourselves. And, when you look at runners, it's easy to tell how serious they are, right? You look at the dude who's wearing the same ratty sweatpants that he wore to paint the front porch last summer. That person's probably not very serious. So, what's a runner wearing? Are they wearing the ratty sweatpants, or are they wearing spandex? Now, spandex is a key indicator of commitment, I think. It's like baptism. In Christianity, baptism is a public proclamation that you're leaving your past life and you're entering into a new life dedicated to the Lord and to, serving in the church. And that's what spandex is in the running world. It's a baptism. See, the first pair of silky tights that is pulled up over your body transforms you. You are now a runner when you're in spandex. You are legit. I know this is sacred. I know it is, because in Duluth, Minnesota, where I live, it's cold. It's cold like half the year. And these people who have experienced this conversion, this born again into running experience, they run in like 30 below weather in spandex. It's crazy, but it's also inspiring. See, the guy in the old sweats will probably quit unless he's willing to up his commitment level. It's okay to get going in whatever you've got, Throw on those old sweats, throw on those old, junky Payless shoes that are, totally shot, and start running. That's great. But if you're going to make it in the long haul, if you're going to make it to the level of running a marathon or doing something great in the running world, you're going to have to up your game at some point. You're going to have to go to the spandex aisle and bite the bullet and step into the world of being a real runner. You're going to have to go get those beautiful spandex, and the great high-priced running shoes, because that's what it takes to be a real runner. You get my point. You have to up your game. You have to up your commitment level. My point is that in running and in life in general, you got to have a sustained determination. The Bible even uses running as a metaphor for a spiritual walk. 1 Corinthians 9:24-27 says, "Do you not know that those who run in a race all run, but one receives the prize? Run in such a way that you may obtain it. And everyone who competes for the prize is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a perishable crown, but we do it for an imperishable crown. Therefore run thus, not with uncertainty. Thus I fight, not as one who beats the air, but I discipline my body and bring it into subjection, lest when I have preached to others, I myself should be disqualified." If you're a person of faith, don't be like the guy in the old sweats when it comes to God. You've got to up your commitment. You've got to put on some metaphorical spandex. Trust me, you'll be glad you did. You'll find that a whole new world will open up for you when you make that kind of bold commitment to your walk with God. If you're listening to this and you are not a Christian, or you're not really a person of faith, you're just curious and you've stuck with me to this point, please keep in mind that what Paul said at the end of that statement. He said that it would be possible that if he didn't keep up his discipline, that he himself could be disqualified from the race with God. You got to realize that some Christians are at the sweatpant level commitment. I didn't say that right. You got to realize that some Christians are still wearing the old ratty sweatpants in their metaphorical run with God. And so don't judge all of us by that guy. And look at Jesus as the number one example. That's what we're all trying to aspire to, or that we all should be trying to aspire to. So if you want to judge Christianity, first look at Jesus and look at his people second. Hey, thanks for listening. Running marathons takes sustained determination. So does life. So does faith. Keep up the good work. Keep running. Hey, my name is Matthew Seipel Anderson. Thank you for listening to this podcast. You can find my website is mysaviorsanthem.com. I'm on Twitter, MSA_music. Facebook, the Telescope Podcast. I'd love to hear some stories about racing injuries, marathon injuries, or marathon successes. Have you run a marathon? I'd like to know, so I can say congratulations to you. And anyway, thanks for listening, and take care.
What's up, everybody? Everyone in this place, if you could do a handstand, I want to see your feet up in the air right now. Wave